In this video, we'll discuss the outlook for the stock market, identify the key levels, break down the prevailing sentiment among market participants, look behind the scenes using the gamma exposure profile, and I'll share something interesting with you. But first, as usual, let's go over how tracking market maker activity allows you to build trading strategies and what kind of results this leads to. And since practice is always much more illustrative than any theory, let's look at a specific example. If on Monday, June 22nd, you had opened SPY in our app, the link to which is in the description below this video, and selected the expiration dates from Monday through Friday inclusive, the weekly gamma exposure profile would have looked like this. The week started at the gamma flip zone. This is the level where gamma transitions from negative to positive values, and this level always carries high significance because it acts as a separator between bullish and bearish territory. If the price is above it, it's seen as strong support, if below, as resistance. Immediately above the gamma flip zone at the 750 strike was the nearest weekly resistance level consisting of a large cluster of positive and absolute gamma. At the 745 strike, there were another large absolute gamma values. The main support levels were at the 730 and 735 strikes. If we plot these levels on the price chart, they looked like this. We label the 730 and 735 strikes as key support levels. Here is the 745 strike. Slightly above that is the gamma flip zone, and at the 750 strike we mark the nearest weekly resistance. Now the situation is even clearer, and we can see that the 745 to 750 range is concentrated with many important values, and this is where the bulls and bears will battle for dominance. We could also mark the 760 strike as the final weekly resistance, but a move up to that level was a non-priority scenario, and we only marked it because it existed. Thanks to the color gradient, we could see that above the first resistance level it began to fade, indicating that even if the first resistance level were broken, bullish momentum would immediately start to wane. However, if the price dropped below 745, the decline would continue down to the key support levels. With that in mind, the main trading ideas were to bet on a market decline while hedging positions against the possibility that the price could move up toward the first resistance level. All of this was discussed in detail in my last video on YouTube, so let me attach a short clip showing what was said at the time and what trading ideas were proposed. There is a possibility the price could drop to the support levels, but we need to use a hedge against the possibility of a rise above the first resistance level. Thanks to the color gradient, we can see that if the first resistance level is broken, bullish momentum will begin to fade. However, if the price moves below 745, there is potential for a deeper decline down to the first support level. In this situation, we can open a calendar put spread on the SPX choosing the nearest expiration date of June 26th and the 7350 strikes. This position is inexpensive, and if the market declines, it will immediately start generating profit. This position can be easily hedged with an iron condor with the left wing set at the 7500 strike and the right wing at the 7600 strike. With this condor, we remove the risk of the price moving above the gamma flip zone and trading between the resistance levels. The positions should be opened at a ratio of 2 or 3 iron condors for every one calendar put spread. Instead of an iron condor, you could use a call broken wing butterfly on SPY, shifting the expiration date by 1 day. What I mean is that if the calendar put spread is opened with expiration on Friday, then the call broken wing butterfly would have expiration on Thursday. For instance, if by Thursday the market falls by 1.5%, the profit from the calendar spread would be about $1,400 compared to a loss of $170. But if by Thursday the market rises by more than 1%, the call broken wing butterfly would offset most of the losses from the calendar put spread. Another option to consider is a call broken wing butterfly on the SPX centering it at the 7550 strike. This strike coincides with the 1 sigma resistance level, which creates a margin of safety in case the upward move continues. If, relative to the entry point, the market starts to decline, this strategy will immediately begin generating profit and can be closed. Since the main idea was that the market was near the resistance level and there was a high probability of a downward move, I chose a calendar put spread as the primary strategy, hedged with an iron condor at a ratio of 1 to 2. Starting Tuesday, the market began to decline, and by the end of Friday, the SPX was in the 7350 range. At that moment, the calendar put spread was generating a profit of about $1,900, while the hedging iron condor was showing a maximum loss of $420, and together this structure was in the green by $1,500. Now let's move on to discussing the current market situation. From a classic technical analysis perspective, the weekly probability distribution curve identifies the nearest 1 sigma resistance at the 7600 and the 2 sigma resistance at the 7670. The nearest 1 sigma support is at the 7430 level, which coincides with the 20-day and 50-day moving averages, and the 2 sigma support is at the 7350. The price continues to trade within a wedge, and by classic analysis, whichever direction the price breaks out of this wedge, momentum is expected to continue in that direction. For example, on a breakout to the upside, we could expect the rally to continue toward a retest of the all-time highs. But here's an interesting point. Not everyone knows about this, but there is the 1-month implied correlation index. In this screenshot, it is shown as a white candlestick chart. On the surface, it looks a lot like the VIX, and at first glance, the dynamics are identical, but there is a fundamental difference between them. While the VIX is a fear gauge, this index measures the market's expected correlation among the stocks in the S&P 500 over the next month. When this index is high, it means the market expects most stocks to move in the same direction. And as we know, most stocks move in the same direction only when there is stress and panic. Simply put, if some shock hits the market, everything falls. When this index is low, it indicates that the market expects more divergent stock movements. I hope you get the idea. If there's panic in the market, everything falls. If the market is stable, then today one stock might rise on earnings, tomorrow another, the day after that a rotation might begin into a completely different sector, but the market stays stable. And this index essentially reflects that market participants are willing to invest in different assets. So this index is a great tool to use in combination with the VIX. For example, one of the strongest signals occurs when the correlation index drops to extremely low levels, but the VIX doesn't follow suit and continues to remain at relatively high levels. In that scenario, a low index indicates an absence of market-wide fear, while a higher VIX suggests that investors are still buying protection against a decline. One of the clearest recent examples occurred this past winter. For quite a long time, we saw a divergence between these two indicators, with the market not rising, and in the end, it resulted in a correction. To simplify the work and avoid having to spot these divergences on two separate charts, we can divide the VIX by this index. And now, whenever peak values appear, we will understand that at that moment the VIX is significantly higher, which is exactly what indicates that euphoria is present, but investors are starting to hedge their positions against a potential decline in the S&P. Here you can see that all local peaks were typically accompanied by minor corrections lasting a few days, while more extreme deviations ultimately led to more significant sell-offs. So right now the deviation is indeed very serious. The last time we saw something like this was in July 2024 during the famous carry trade unwind. On this chart, that correction looks quite minor, but back then it amounted to about 10%. If we translate that into today's terms, that would be a drop in the index to the 6700 to 6800 range. So getting back to the topic of the forming wedge, when the price was near its upper boundary on Tuesday, it was more reasonable to expect that it would not break it to the upside and that a downward correction would begin. But if on Tuesday we had opened the SPY Gamma exposure profile in the Quant Power app and selected the expiration dates from Tuesday through Friday inclusive, the situation would have become much clearer. Moving from top to bottom, we see that the final weekly resistance is at the 760 strike. These are the largest positive and absolute gamma values. But before we can talk about the price reaching this level, it first needs to overcome the nearest resistance level, which is at the 753 strike. These are the second largest positive gamma values, and above this level absolute gamma begins to decline. The gamma flip zone is at the 750 strike, and the largest absolute gamma values are also located there. The nearest support level is the 745 to 746 range, which consists of a large cluster of absolute gamma and also a positive gamma island. Below that, at the 740 strike, there is another support level that is clearly visible. If we plot all these levels on the chart and add a color gradient for greater clarity, everything becomes crystal clear. The space between the first resistance level and the gamma flip zone is a decision-making zone, and before opening any trades, one had to wait for the price to break through one of these levels. However, above the first resistance level, the gradient begins to fade, indicating that bullish momentum will come under pressure, and there are several reasons for this. First, between the first and second resistance levels, there is an additional 1 sigma resistance level on the SPX. Second, above the first resistance level, there is a decline in absolute gamma. Third, as we discussed today, there are certain signals indicating that in contrast to the overall optimism, market participants are expecting a correction and are positioning for a decline. Given all this, a continuation of the market rally was a non-priority scenario. But if the price moved below the gamma flip zone, it would enter bearish territory, and I expected the decline to continue with the first target at the first support level. Speaking of trading ideas that can be implemented, the situation was somewhat more complicated this week because due to the volatility environment, not all option structures would have been suitable. For example, neutral strategies that are typically built around key support and resistance levels had an unattractive position profile this week. What I mean is that if on Tuesday we had considered a classic iron condor on the SPX expiring at the end of the week with a wing width capturing this range, on a single lot we would have had a potential profit of $100 against a potential loss of $400. Naturally, with that kind of math, opening this position would have been simply unprofitable. And if you had to choose among neutral strategies, it would have been better to use an iron butterfly with strikes like these and expiration next Friday. With this structure, we leave ourselves a small margin for maneuver in case of an upward move. But if over the next few days the price stays within this range or starts to decline, the structure can be closed to lock in a profit. Given what was happening with volatility this week, I preferred to use directional strategies. On Tuesday, when the price broke through the gamma flip zone, I opened a put butterfly on the SPX centered at the 7400 strike. This strike coincided with the main support level on SPY. The position was very cheap, and in such situations the risk is justified. As an alternative, you could have considered a calendar put spread. Of course, more sophisticated variations were also possible. For example, combining an iron butterfly with a diagonal put spread, but that's a matter of personal preference. On Wednesday, 2 hours after the market opened, the price reached the support level and the put butterfly was generating a profit of 150% or about $1,000 in the context of a single lot. By the end of the day, the market bounced off the support level. Right now, the price is approaching the nearest weekly resistance level, and this level coincides with the intraday resistance level on the SPX. Additionally, at the 7550 strike, there's a block of volume. And if we look at the power zone distribution, above 7555 the values drop off sharply today, indicating that the price should not rise above this level. Given the combination of these factors, I am now opening a put butterfly on the SPX centered at the 7400 strike with expiration next Friday. This strategy is very inexpensive, and if the market declines, it will immediately start generating profit. And if you want to see in advance what's happening behind the scenes of the market and make timely, well-informed trading decisions, the link to the app with all the information you need for trading is in the description below this video. That's all for today. Good luck with your trading and see you next time.